Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm your hostess, Josie Way. Co-hosting with me is Ken Demers. And our guest tonight, as we promised, is Roland Comtois. He has a background in nursing, and they have coaxed him into being, the spirits above have coaxed him into being a medium, which he's been doing for many years. Mm-hmm. Now he runs big, I don't know what to call them, shows, you might say, where he demonstrates his mediumship and he gives thousands of messages away in purple papers and writes books on his mediumship and his experiences. I don't know, I'm not doing this justice.
Well, you're doing fine.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate being on your show. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it very much. You know, I've been hearing voices and feeling energy my whole life, and I think I've said that story many times with, the opportunity to be here with you guys. And it's become now very routine to hear that voice or to feel that energy or to have a moment where I know that message isn't written for me.
One voice or all different voices?
Multiple voices, multiple moments. You know, I got to tell you some good news though. About a week ago, I was in New York doing a presentation. There was a psychiatrist in the room, and when I said I hear multiple voices, she said, well, those aren't the kind of voices we talk about in our psychiatric classes and lessons and things.
Yeah.
So I thought I was good to go.
A disclaimer.
And I was fine to say to the world, I don't need any psychiatric care. I do hear voices, I do feel energy. Sometimes it's a lot of voices, sometimes it's one voice.
I have to make a correction to what she said.
Mm-hmm.
She said you started out as a nurse and then Spirit took you into messages.
True,
well,
you're right.
My belief is that he's just doing a different type of healing because he's mostly dealing with people with grief.
Right.
A lot of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Roland, I know a lot of mediums, you do. Roland is the most heart-centered medium that we know.
Yes.
And he's the heart-centered because he's dealing with people's grief.
Yeah.
The purple papers, we're going to be a long half hour. But one thing about the purple that I've never heard Roland mention is that Spirit is only capable of seeing certain colors. I have no idea why. Purple is one of those colors.
Wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, purple, I read this many years ago, I don't remember.
Wow,
I think it was purple and green, maybe. There were two colors that they could see better than others.
Wow, that's
so
interesting.
Purple there's a particular reason that he's got purple papers.
You know, everybody is always, I don't mean to interrupt you, everybody is so intrigued. Why purple? What's the reason, right? Everybody wants to know.
Now you know.
Well, no, I'll tell you, I heard in my head, do it on purple paper. There wasn't any more dramatic than that.
Well, but there's a reason behind it. As soon as I saw them, I knew what it was years ago.
Yeah.
Purple is compassion.
It's a compassion.
But it has to do with the vibration.
It's the vibration of
a
wisdom,
different vibration.
Insight, knowledge.
It's a type of love, the unconditional love.
Higher ascended energies. The purple represents a lot, and has a lot of spiritual vibration to it, spiritual energy to it. You know, so these purple papers, I've been writing on them for 15 years now, and I have papers there from the very first one that I've written in 2005 or so, and it was about the Walcott family that I've been searching for, and even in my first book, we write about the Walcott family on a mission to find that family so that I can extract from these messages something that would take away the grief that one person
carries. How often do we
carries.
find the person connected to giving you this message?
So on a typical event, I will give on an average 5 purple papers, maybe more, maybe less.
Wait a minute. Translate give.
So when I realize that this paper belongs to that person sitting in the audience,
Okay.
I hand it to them because it isn't mine to keep. It's
Okay.
mine to give, really.
So we have a few people that we haven't found.
We have all these people that we haven't found yet. And, the spirit world is always communicating with all of us, really, because I don't think
All right.
you need to see just me.
I'm looking at this one.
Yes.
12, 15, 18. So
Yes.
what's today? 19?
17.
17. So it's 2 days ago.
We've dated ourselves.
Yes.
But there's no. How would you know that that person, Robert, is stating that his relative is sitting in the
Well,
audience?
so let me explain to you how it works.
Yeah,
And
let's hear the process
Then you have an understanding
start
of
to
what
finish.
happens, because by looking at it, you think to yourself, can't be so. I sit in
It
front
can be so, but how?
I sit in front of blank purple papers before walking into a room with people. I'm not in an audience when these are coming to me. I'm
Okay.
at home, or I'm sequestered in a private room by myself, praying, meditating, feeling, experiencing, listening, hearing, all of this. And then I record every single thing I hear on that one purple paper. Everything that I feel, everything that I sense. So this paper that comes from someone named Alice is a story that she wants to tell her family somewhere along the line. So I write the message down, I hear it, I feel it, I experience it, and then I go out into the world, wherever that is. I go out into an audience of 800 people.
And you carrying these with you?
And these have traveled to England, Ireland, and Italy, these purple papers, all on a mission to find the rightful owner. The rightful owner will be Alice's family, or Robert's family, or Junior's family, or Jason's family, or Stephen's family, or Margaret's family, because someone out there knows that person. So when the audience is with me, and I'm looking at them, I'm starting to get a feeling that one of the purple papers that I've recorded is theirs. And I say to my staff, get me the paper about John. And all of a sudden we realize that John's relatives are in the audience. Sometimes someone feels it themselves. Sometimes someone in the audience says, I think you've got a purple paper for me.
That's how you find John.
That's how my staff finds John.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's how they find it. So when I say get John, they know where to look, so they're not fishing through hundreds of purple papers. But let's get back to the simplicity of it. The spirit world, our loved ones, want to tell us that they're still part of us. That's the simplicity of it. They want to tell us we're not alone. They want to tell us keep going. They want to tell us you did a great job taking care of me when I was sick. They want to tell us that you're a good mother. They want to tell you that you're a good son. They want to tell you that you did a great job, right? Whatever it is.
Some want to tell you that they're sorry.
Some want to say they're sorry. So that simple message gets sent to someone like me, translates it here, or through the voice of a medium. You don't need to write on purple papers to be successful as a medium. You have to be operating from the heart. That's
Right,
where
which you
this
are.
makes the difference. But the simplicity of it is, out there, right now, someone is saying, come on, I need to know my kid is all right, right?
Yep.
Somebody out there,
That's a common.
somebody is saying, I want to know if my son Matthew is all right. The spirit world, Matthew, is saying, I want my mother to know that I'm all right. The mother is asking, the son is telling. In the middle are people like us,
The medium.
the medium. And listen, everybody's a medium. Everybody in this room, everybody who's watching is a medium.
Everybody's psychic.
Everybody has the ability to be in that space.
They're not as fine-tuned as you are.
I don't know. All I know is that the mother, let me give you an example, all right? Let me give you an example. I did an event in Maryland. There's 50 people in the room, and on my right-hand side, there's an audience, maybe there's 15 people sitting there. On the fifth row, there were 3 people in the fifth row, a mother, a father, and an older man. I don't know who he was. And all of a sudden, I realize, and it happens intuitively, heart-centered, however it happens.
They're kind of telling you to go to.
They're telling me something. So I look at the family and I say to them just like this, I have a purple paper for you. Their face changes and I go in, my staff gets whatever it is I'm looking for, and I hold it up and I say, this is for you. So in this room, strangers I've never met before, is this family whose 14-month-old child passed away tragically. On a paper, oh man, come on. I'm getting very emotional telling the story. On the paper, through the mystery of the parents in need and the message from the child, somewhere tucked in here is this message that says, tell my dad, something like, my father goes on the boat, sits on the boat, and this is the only place he sees me and feels me. And then there are trees on the paper, and there's a water, and there's a boat. I hand it up, and I show it to the father. You know what happened to him? He cried. And he cried for the first time.
Oh, what a healing.
He cried. He looked at the paper, and he said, like you say, how does that happen? How did that happen? Because he said to the audience, here's what I do. Every day, I get on my boat. I walk past the pine trees. I take my fishing rod. I go on my boat, and I sit there and I talk to my son. And someone like me, or like all of us, takes that moment and brings a little bit of love and a little bit of peace and a little bit of energy, because they're written verbatim was the exact story of that guy's experience with his boy that passed. Let me just give you one other example of this, all right? Are you open to that?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm in another audience in Annapolis, Delaware, Annapolis, Maryland. And in front of me, this room is full. There's 100 people, 120. It's mobbed. Everybody's excited and anxious. Right in front of me is an old man. And I start talking to him about someone. And then I realize his wife is there. So I start talking to her. They're sitting 3 or 4 seats apart from each other. I realize there's a purple paper that says the name Tanya on it. And all of a sudden, you know that feeling when everything is just fitting right into place, clicking into place? It all fits. I looked at the old man and I said, I have a message for you from your daughter. This old guy started to cry, and it was very overwhelming, and the message was written as if the daughter herself needed to tell her father something, right? 5 minutes pass, and I'm talking to somebody else now. This 92-year-old man puts his hands on the side of his chair, and he begins to lean forward, and he's working really hard to get himself up out of the chair while I'm presenting to a room of 120 people. He finally stands, he walks over to me, and he holds me and kisses me on the cheek, and he's crying in my arms. And that purple paper said, tell my dad. Oh, it's very emotional. Just tell my dad something. It's a 92-year-old guy. You know what he said to me? He said, when I walked into this building, I didn't think I had any life left. He said, now I'm leaving a younger man. Because he had one moment. And he took with him the purple paper. He took it with him home. Maybe because he'll sit with it, feel it, remember.
It's a connection to the daughter.
It is.
Out of curiosity, I see on the list.
Our loved ones never die.
Yes.
Different thing. On this, there's a lot that are crossed off. That
Yeah.
means they've gotten them.
They've been delivered.
They've been delivered.
Yeah, those messages have been given.
Would it be easier if you had a last name for them?
So, you want to hear something funny?
Sometimes you
So,
get one.
The spirit world said to me recently, it's time for you to get last names.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Jolliker, Mr. Simmons, Mr. Marinelli, and there are many more. Mrs. LaFrancois. There are multiple messages that are coming with last names. So I've been writing them with last names. You know what someone emailed me and said? Are you ever going to get a first name?
The first name?
She said, are you ever going to get a first name? But the fact of the matter is, we're asking a question of the spiritual world, of our loved ones. The loved one wants us to understand that they don't die, that we live on, that there's a difference. There's a difference from it physically. There's a difference from the physical perspective or the spiritual perspective, right? You look at it from multiple ways. I'm a nurse. The body dies.
Yes.
My professor said it on the first day when we walked into class. The very first thing she said to us, day one of nursing school, "You're going to die," she said. Just like that. You're going to die.
Sooner or later.
The body dies.
Yes, it does.
But it's not the body that defines us. It's not the body that defines us, ever. It's the part of us inside that's filled with that connection.
Let's change a little bit of a subject here.
Yeah.
You as a medium have had multiple lifetimes in the past, and you have a soul, and you are, as you sit here, the fingertip of your soul, right?
Yes.
And it's got a finger, because you're part of God, there's no past, present, or future. So all these lifetimes are simultaneous.
Yes.
So if your father was 92, you could have had 2 or 3 lifetimes after that or before that, or he would. So how do you? But I don't know.
I know where you're going, and I'll answer it. I got you.
How the different lifetimes relate to this?
I know.
To you.
I got it. Because what defines us, again, is the experience of love. So if someone passes, and if you believe in past lives or reincarnation or something else, because many people have asked me this, it's all the same. You know, my mother passed away. What I remember about her is the essence of love and who she truly was. It's not her body or what she went through physically. It's who she was as this entity of love. The entity of love is the great communicator. So the entity of love of that little boy that passed very tragically, sending a message to someone who can hear it, which happened to be me at that moment, is kind of opening the doorway for them to have a greater relationship and a greater communication somehow. And that's what happens. It's the entity of love that allows the communication to continue before, during, and after, past, present, or future. And that's how it works.
If you're asking, are any of these from past lives, I'm sure
It could be.
I am sure it would be communicated.
I have not run into that. These are not about someone who passed in the 18th century. I don't think I've ever had.
I'm talking. If you're a 92-year-old guy and you had a child die when you were 20, and then his brother, who's now 40, dies,
Understand.
and then your next daughter, who's 60, dies. So you've got 3 different generations. It could be the same individual.
What I'm telling you is that the experience, the communication comes forward based on the energy of love. It's a little cliched, but it's based in that experience. So whether the brother and the 92-year-old man, or the 92-year-old man and a younger daughter or an older daughter, what they exchanged together was the experience of love. That is the communicator, no matter whatever time has transpired between them. You know, that's the gist of it, really. It really is the important aspect of it, is that the love is the communicator.
We all, I guess you do too, have a background in spiritualist churches.
Yes.
One woman was getting a message one time, and it was about her granddaughter who had tried 3 different times to be born into that woman's family.
Oh, yeah, that's familiar.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, there's a continuation of that. Just because somebody has an abortion or dies or whatever doesn't mean that particular soul is gone. They're still there. Right. They just come back and try again.
Right, and all of these purple papers represent the experience that occurred between two people, between Mrs. Jolicoeur and her family, or Robert and his family, or Alice.
What is the house?
So the house, it's all part of the message, right? So it talks about the nighttime, it talks about his passing from the house. So everything about the purple paper matters. The colors, the things that are highlighted as you see there, or even if you looked at this one, this is all highlighted here, but it's an important aspect of the message.
It means something to somebody.
It'll mean something to her family and nobody else, you know. And so all of these purple papers get recorded. They get posted on social media publicly, so the whole world can see those messages. And somebody asked me.
And people communicate with you when they see that this. I think this is mine.
Yes, and a woman did that traveling. She was in Germany when I got the email from her saying, "Oh my God, every word is my grandmother." And what happens after that is I talk to each person personally to be sure that I have the right feeling.
Before
this is
you
going
give
to
them
the
the paper.
Absolutely. I don't give papers out for the fun of it. I never have. One time in Delaware, a lady ran up to the table and she said, "That's my purple paper." And I said, "Lady, I'm sorry, it's not." And she was mad. She was so mad at me, and she ran off kicking and screaming. But the fact is, I know in my heart that it goes where it's supposed to go.
She wanted a connection to her
Loved
past,
one.
and
maybe
that
it was
the
similar.
only thing she had.
It was the only opportunity she had in that moment. But I had to stay true to what I felt here.
You're gonna like this one. I invited. I was going to the White Bookstore, and you know where that is.
Yes.
I've been there many times. And I was going to see a medium there, Santos out of New Bedford or Fall River.
Right.
And I was
Tony.
taking an electrician friend of mine. I deal with energy. And he had never been to one of these before, so he took him. And I really wanted him to have a connection to somebody. And his father, who had passed over, was a good friend of mine. So I'm thinking about his father. I'm wanting him to come in. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, he came in through me.
Oh, wow.
Shoo, right down out the stomach. And I said to the medium, I says, "His father's here." He says, "Oh," he got insulted that I would tell him that. But in the course of the conversation after he was there, he says, "I was very far away, and you came and got me."
Oh, wow. Wow.
So it's just, I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that one.
Some things cannot be explained. Some things are just the way they are. And these messages are just the way they are.
Yeah.
And everyone I meet, even the skeptics want a message. Even the skeptics now follow me to the car in case I got one more message, one more paper. Everybody wants to know that we go on. Everybody wants to understand it. And these purple papers give the grieving person permission to go on.
Yeah.
So I had another purple paper go into a woman whose son passed very tragically. I realized it was hers, and we set up an appointment to talk with her. Well, would you guess that the appointment was at the exact day and the exact time of her son's passing? And the paper.
You planned that, right?
And the paper had
didn't
his
have that
name
information.
on it, had his name on it, had how his father passed, and every other thing. And it's moments like that that solidify, for me at least, that the connection exists. Now, it's exciting for me to tell you guys that these papers are coming out in a brand
new
new
book.
Called Signs of Spirit. And it's being published by Llewellyn Publishers Worldwide. And it's going to be published in many countries, and there's a lot of excitement about the purple paper, so there's an interest in them now.
Are people interested enough that they're going to sit and read through a book of these?
No, it's not the way. It's the stories of those that have been delivered.
Okay.
Plus, the back of the book has many papers that have not been delivered yet. So now the world can look and see if there's something that resonates.
What they would hope to experience is this.
Yes, that their hope is to get one of these purple papers that takes away their grief and their pain for just a minute. The spiritual world is communicating. They're listening, and someone like us has the conversation.
Let's ask this question. We're dealing with whatever that name is.
Jolicoeur.
Jolicoeur, which is not a common name.
No.
It's Happy Heart.
It is?
Yes,
Is that what Joliker means?
yes,
What does it mean?
pretty heart, I
Oh, it
think.
does?
Yes.
That's
Is
nice.
it J.A.
That's
or
interesting.
Jolic.
Jolie, pretty heart?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay, so if you go to one of your sessions and somebody in there you're drawn to,
Yes.
and you start giving them a reading,
Yes.
will that person come in for that person in the audience?
I'm not sure if
I'm asking this
Yeah, I'm
wrong.
not sure if I'm understanding the question.
No, I'm just, well, because that's what you do, so that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Yeah. So there's a knowing.
I was wondering if they could be a connection from that person to this person
Yeah,
through
you know,
your mediumship.
Yes, the answer is yes to that question, and that happens a lot of times in the audience. It happens where someone in there knows. There's one example of one woman who came to my event in Massachusetts, sat there, waited and waited for me to talk to her about her son. She said, my son came to me in a dream, and in the dream, he said, you have a purple paper dated on this date. When in the purple papers, dated on that date, was a purple paper with her son's name on it and how he passed away. So she knew, because he communicated to her.
Yep.
I didn't know it at first. It all came out. And by the end,
Yeah.
it all came out to where it was supposed to be. But that's the power of this. It's the power of spiritual communication, though, because it reminds us of something critically important, that the soul carries on, that we're not defined by our physical body, that there's something else that defines us, and it's something else that makes us shine. And that's what I keep talking about, because these people in their lives, whether good, bad, or indifferent, maybe they were shining brightly, and maybe they need to tell someone that they're still shining brightly.
Yeah. What it is the power of love.
It is.
And we need to know, how do people find out where the purple papers are shown?
Yep.
And they'll be getting some of them in the book.
Yeah, sure.
And where do they go to sign up for an event? To
Okay,
go
so
to,
Are these
to go
on the
to
internet?
the purple
Yeah,
papers?
so yes, the answer is yes to all those questions. If you go to RolandComtois.net, you will see very soon all of them posted there.
Oh.
Every single one of them posted on my website, and they get shown every Wednesday when I'm live on 11/11, and I post them publicly on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, so that they're out before I walk into a room.
Now, if they're on the internet and their person that they're interested in is Daddy, how would
Danny.
you find Daddy?
Danny, it says
I
Danny.
mean, I was looking at the one under
Yeah.
it saying,
Yeah, no.
that doesn't make sense.
No.
But if you have a Danny,
Yes.
is there a way to find him in the internet?
No.
Okay.
Impossible. That's impossible.
No. I meant to find the
Yeah.
purple paper on the internet.
Oh, yeah. All of the purple papers are going to be posted on my website.
But are they going to be listed like this?
No, I don't know yet. That I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure of. You might have to thumb through a lot of them. I'm not sure yet. That part we haven't worked out yet. But again, back to the simplicity of it all, it is about the continuity of the soul. Whether you have a purple paper, or you get a message, or you have your own feeling that your loved ones are with you. It's the continuity of the soul that allows this experience to take place. As strange as it may be to some, this allows that person receiving the message saying that love is everlasting.
Yes. I hope our messages are everlasting for you. We've come, the messages of love and that life continues. I hope they've given you some comfort and faith. We are coming to the end of the show, and we're airing 3 brand new episodes of Roland, starting with this one. And next week and the week after, you will see the others. This is the first of 3.
Roland does shows, commercial shows in Rhode Island for people on a fairly regular basis, I would say.
So yeah, just
He's worth the trip.
That's
Go
nice.
see him.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And look for
Thank
his
you.
book. It should be coming out by the time this show airs. So,
Which time were we there?
well, we're dating ourselves again.
Yes.
It will be March.
We are now December 2018. So
Yes. So if you're watching this as a vintage show, the message is still real.
The message is still the same. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate being
You're
with you.
welcome.
And thank you, Ken. And thanks to everybody out there. I appreciate it.
till again, many times again.
I hope so. I mean, I enjoy coming here.
This lifetime or another.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to stay focused on this one. It takes enough work to be on this one
Yeah.
right now. I'm going to stay right here. And
Okay.
this